So I quit my job 6 months ago and I moved from New York back to Baltimore. Let's talk about it. I was born and raised in Baltimore, but I am Nigerian. I went to Towson University. I got my bachelor's in computer science. And I've lived in so many places since graduating college. Because if you don't know, Towson University is in Baltimore, Maryland. I quit my job on August 15th, 2025, which is actually 2 years after I got my job. I got my job on August 15th, 2023. So let me give you a little context on why I quit my job, what's been going on, how I feel, etc., etc. So, girl, sit down. So basically, I was a developer for a big tech consulting company, and the work-life balance was absolutely terrible. We worked Monday through Friday, 44 hours minimum was the contract. 44 hours, not 40 for whatever reason. We're also on call on weekends, and when they said on call, they meant that. As in Saturday, 3 p.m., they're texting my phone, hitting me up on Slack, calling my phone, telling me I have to fix this, etc., etc., etc. The reason that I quit my job, so I don't really want to drag on why, there were several reasons. Number one, when raise season came around, I didn't get a raise because they said that I made so much more than other people on the team, and those people needed to get more first. The second reason, the lack of boundaries, texting my phone at 12 a.m., texting my phone at 6 a.m., put me in a group chat while other people.
Hold up. Texting your work phone or your personal phone at 12 a.m. is really crazy. It makes me wonder if they told her this up front. But that's crazy. I've never heard of anything like that.
Want to see? No. What's really going on? The absolute last straw for me was when we had to start working Sundays. We were already on call on weekends, but Sundays were not mandatory because those were the days that we were not going to deploy code, even though we were already deploying code on Mondays. But the client wanted us to deploy code now on Sundays. No. I was waking up every day with panic attacks, anxiety attacks, going to sleep with anxiety, waking up with anxiety. I was gaining so much weight. My skin was ugly. The job was making me ugly. The job was making me ugly. I was calling my older sister every single day, bawling on the phone. She will testify to this in court. I was bawling on the phone every single freaking day. I know that people in my neighborhood in Brooklyn were like, is this girl okay? I'd be walking my dog bawling. Like, I hated every single thing about this job. I hated the fact that I hated it so much because we all want to like our job. I don't mind corporate America. You know what? Let me not talk about corporate America. Let me not talk about corporate America. Let me just say that the way that this job made me feel and put me in fight or flight every second of the day was enough for me to leave. That's it. And I don't really care who's going to come in my comments and say, oh, in this economy, yes, this job paid me well. I had a nice apartment in New York and I lived by myself and I never had an issue paying rent and I was still able to save money as well and travel. However, nah. This is my very first time since I was honestly 16 that I didn't have a job. I've always had a job. I've always had a job lined up before I quit a job. So this is my very first time, number one, quitting a job without a backup plan. Number two, moving back home. If you told me at the beginning of 2025, I'd be moving back.
All right, we get our point. Listen, I don't think people really understand working a job that you don't get time off and it's just ever going can be very overwhelming. It's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. Now, I will say this. Companies, well, they should advise you during the interview process, like, of how heavy the workload is. Like, of course, it's typically heavier than what they describe from my experience. But for the most part, if they're going to be calling you at 12 a.m., those are things that I believe companies typically give you a heads up about during the interview process. Like, they'll ask you, hey, are you comfortable with receiving phone calls or text messages around, at any point in time of the night? Because we have clients that we're serving. And these clients, essentially are who's keeping the lights on at the company. So if they reach out to us and say they need something done, we need you to be available. Are you open to that? Are you okay with that? And the person usually has to say yes or no. I always tell people, if a company give you a laptop, if they give you a phone, they're about to be in touch. Like they're gonna be contacting you. They got work for you to do. They have plenty of work, especially if they give you a car. You're about to be moving around and grooving, you know. So these higher paying jobs, they come with responsibilities, and you have to, if you want these jobs, you have to assimilate to the company's culture. And it's usually not healthy, but it's part of how it works. And unfortunately for her, it became, I mean, unhealthy for her. She said, you know, it began to affect her skin. It began to affect her health in terms of like her weight gain and all of that. And just began to have panic attacks, and she was always crying. I do think when you start having those type of experiences, it's time for you to look for something else, even if it's something small. I'm not one of those people who are like, hey, quit a job without a backup plan. She did say she quit it without a backup plan, but she also said she made good money and she was able to save. So I'm assuming she was able to save quite a bit. I know we didn't finish the video. I'll make sure I put the link in the description so you can go check out the video in its entirety if you desire. But she talked about her reason is that they didn't pay her increase based off what, you know, other people needed to get. And to be honest with you, that's not how it's supposed to work. You know, if you do your annual review and you're up for an increase and you earned it, you're supposed to get it. It's not supposed to be based off what your customers didn't get. It's not supposed to be based off how much more you're making than others. It's not supposed to be based off that. It's supposed to be based off merit. And if you have earned it, you're supposed to receive it. So I can understand that. And one thing I will say, you got to get that paper because these companies are going to work you. And obviously she was saying how her workload was, that they even made it mandatory to work on Sundays. Listen to me real good. Work is supposed to be challenging. It is going to be exhausting and things like that. But too much of anything is bad. I don't care what it is. Too much of anything, even good things, are bad. And when these corporations start working you like a dog and I mean, just overloading on you, listen, it affects your health. It affects your body. It affects your mind. It affects your perspectives. It affects you. And I'll never say, don't work. I'll never say, oh, just quit your job, you know, without having a job. But I will say, prioritize your health. And part of that is finding another job while you're there so that you can do something else. And yeah, I do understand when people say in this economy, because it's more challenging. But at the same time, there's opportunities out there. You just have to get out there. You got to pray and hope that the Lord will grace you to, you know, walk into an open door and an opportunity will find you. So, oh, excuse me. But it is a challenge. You know, there are a lot of changes going on in the economy, especially with the, you know, what AI is doing, and companies are trying to figure out how much of their overhead in terms of employees can be shifted to AI and save them money or, you know, increase their bottom line. And that affects us. So, yeah, you have to be mindful. But she said she's at a family's house, and it's good to have families, good to have people that you can fall back on. And it's also good to have, you know, some savings. And I was saving more so another job. I'll leave it at that. But y'all let me know what y'all think about it. It's interesting to hear so many people speaking out about, you know, just leaving their jobs without another job. I don't know, but that's not something I've done that I'm comfortable with since I've been in corporate America. It's like, you know, either you laying me off or I'm finding another job, you know, while I'm working, like, so that I can go somewhere else. But just quitting and having no income coming in, yeah, that's not ideal. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.